Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Generation Elevation. Today, I have an incredible guest here with you all. She is a WBFF competitor and Australian champion. She's an online lifestyle training and nutrition coach and also a new mum to the beautiful Luna. With that said, I would love to welcome the amazing Emily King.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, Emily. Like I was saying before we press record, I've been following your journey for years now, so it's really cool to have you as a guest on my show.
Lovely. Love that.
So for the listeners, I'm sure they're probably wondering, okay, so who is this Emily chick, right? So where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I am from a little town called, I guess like you'd say Rockhampton because no one really knows where Emu Park is. So it's a little town like up North Queensland. I'm sort of like down from Townsville, up from Brisbane, somewhere in between. But yeah, so it's a little town, but a coastal town there.
Oh, wow. And so now you're living in the Gold Coast, yes?
Yeah.
Amazing. How long have you been on the Gold Coast for?
Only like 4 years. I was in Townsville prior to that.
Okay, cool. And how old are you?
I am 30.
I literally like, whenever someone asks me how old I am, I really hesitate. I'm like, I don't know.
I am.
Yeah, literally. And so I said that you are an online lifestyle nutrition training coach. So I guess for those who are not really sure what that is, like what does that entail?
So basically we work with a lot of general population clients. And when we say general population, it's just like everyone that's not really an athlete. And we just help them navigate this industry, which can be quite confusing at times as to, especially in weight loss. So we do specialize in that area just because a lot of people, as you would know, there's so many different approaches and it can be super overwhelming. So we like to break it down really simple, give lots of evidence-based practice, really simple methods that they can use within their lifestyle to get results, but still be able to be social and go out with friends and things like that. So we just like to make fitness something that is achievable for everyone, which it should be, really.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because there's so much information out there, and I'm sure the listeners can agree that like it's really confusing and it's hard to know what's the right thing for you and what to do.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really cool. And WBFF, competing, an Australian champion. I know what that means, but I know some of my listeners will be like, what are all these letters? So, yeah, what I guess in brief terms, because we can go definitely a bit deeper into that, but what is that specifically?
So WBFF is a bodybuilding federation. I think people would be more familiar with things like ICN or IFBB or whatever it may be, but they're just federations within bodybuilding, and I am a figure champion. So I'm the biggest of the girls in WBFF, and I won Australian. So yeah, that's what that means.
Wow, that's incredible. Oh, I can't wait to get into this today, and I just know we're going to have a really, really exciting conversation. So I guess to start off, Emily, I know you mentioned in your bio when you booked this call that you actually are a registered nurse as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm really curious, how does one go from living in a small country town, Rockhampton, to then being on the Gold Coast, from a registered nurse to then Australian WBFF figure champion?
Long story. I guess like when I was growing up, my family, my mum especially was really active. So that's kind of where my being into sports and everything came from. And then I started training when I was about 17 or 18 at the gym with her. And I did nursing because she was a nurse and I didn't want to come out of school and not go into university. I thought that would just be a waste of time for me. So, and at the time when I was leaving school, it was all about university. Like if you didn't have a university degree, like you were automatically behind. And we know that that's not really the case anymore. Like there's so many things you can do without a university degree. So I personally did it just because I really love looking after people. I love caring for people and being of service to people. So these two roles that I'm in at the moment, well, nursing and what I'm doing now is essentially the same thing, right? Like it's health promotion. And in nursing, I saw a lot of people coming through with preventable diseases and things that they could have fixed with diet and lifestyle choices. So I'm essentially getting to them before they get to the hospital, which means a lot to me because there is a lot of stuff out there, like a lot of people out there with conditions that they could have easily fixed with small interventions or even just education growing up, and being able to impact not only the individual, but also their children is a big thing for me as well, because, you know, they're the next generation. And if we're teaching the parent how to train and eat properly, then we're teaching the child how to do that as well, because, you know, children do everything that they see their parents do. So that was kind of a natural progression for me from nursing to where I am now, because I didn't see myself, working in a job where I had to work for someone. That was just never worked for me personally. And there are perks to working for people. It's like, I know that, but I just couldn't do it long term. So I was working ICU intensive care for 4 years and I loved it. And then I moved out of it and became a face-to-face personal trainer. I was doing both jobs at one time at one stage, and it was a lot. So I moved out of there, and then I moved from Townsville to here, and I took my business online because I didn't have a job down here. So I just had to make it work out of pure desperation, really.
Yeah, wow. Oh, I can really resonate a lot with your story, and I know there would be so many nurses listening to this right now, especially like I could just imagine how tough it would be for them at the moment. And I would love to talk about that transition from when you were juggling both, and when did you know that actually, like, this is truly what I want to do and I'm going to have more impact doing the coaching rather than the nursing? Like, I know for myself personally, going from a face-to-face personal trainer to then online personal trainer to then mindset coach online, it definitely, like, the leap was something that was quite challenging. So how did you navigate like through that time?
It is really difficult, as you would know, like, because you never really know what you're walking into or what that's going to look like. You just know the feeling of, you know, there has to be something more. And that was always with me, especially when I was trying to juggle both. And I was like, look, I could, and I knew after reading a lot of things by like Tony Robbins and things like that, you can't just focus on two things and expect them both to work. You have to put all of your focus into the thing that you wanted to succeed. So I juggled both for probably 2 years. And it was at that point where I was like, do I stay with my stable job, which I know that I'm going to get, you know, X amount of money per year and it's so stable? And my mum obviously was like, just stay with it. And Matt was like, just stay with it. And I was like, but it's something, it wasn't something that I love to do. Although there was moments that I loved to do, it just I wasn't all in. And I'm someone that's like, I've always questioned, like, why do we need to go to work 8 to 5, like, you know, 8 to 5? Why do we need to go to school? Like, why do all these things? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to follow this path and go down the coaching route. And look, it worked because I obviously put all of my intention into it, and it's a genuine business that I was making out of love. So anything that you make out of love is going to succeed as long as you put effort into it.
Oh, I really resonate with that so much. Like, I think when you are doing something, not for the sake of just doing it, but also from a place of passion and love, like, that energetically, I feel, transfers across to your clients. And potentially that may be why, like, you get such good results with your clients. Like, obviously the knowledge behind the strategies and things like that, but also the energy behind like your intention for sharing and teaching, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's so cool. And so you jumped into the online coaching space, and then you also, like, somewhere along that line got into competing. So when was the first time that you, I guess, decided to jump on stage, and what was the reasoning behind that?
I actually started competing when I was still nursing. So I started competing when I was, I think, I just finished university. So it would have been like 2013, something like that, maybe. Don't even know. And I think my first comp was 2015. So I am someone that always grew muscle really quite easily. And I went into the gym, and I think it was the few people that were like, hey, like, you should compete. And it always starts like that, I feel like, with competitors. And I was like, okay, may as well just give it a go. So that's when that happened for me. So like when I have, especially like competitors that are nurses or shift workers and things like that, like I can be like, you can make it work, because I did, and I competed at an elite level whilst doing shift work. And, it is doable. It is hard, but anything's achievable in life. So yeah, so that's kind of how that happened. I just kept competing because it was, one, something to focus on. Two, I was really good at it. And three, I think it was the first thing in life that I was actually really good at. Like I kind of stumbled through like high school and wasn't really good at anything, to be completely honest with you. Tried every sport, sucked at it, awful at coordination and like all that kind of stuff. I was kind of okay at like books and intelligent stuff, but also not the best. So, found something that I really liked, and I was like, I'm good at this and I can do this, because it was something that, like, if you put effort into it, you get the results. And I love that, because there are so many things in life that, like, even if you put effort into them, they don't work out. So your body is one thing that you can manipulate 100%, like just with diet and training and time. So yeah, it was like a love affair from 2015, really.
Oh, wow. I'm curious as well, like, because I actually competed a long time ago, like 2016 with WFF. And I would love to know, like, from like the first time that you competed and your nutrition and training style then versus like what you know now, is there much of a difference?
Yes. Back then it was like we didn't even know about calories or macros. It was completely off a meal plan. And this meal plan was so bro science. It was just like boiled chicken, like rice and green beans. And like we didn't look at like macronutrient timing. It was just a piece of paper with a diet on it. And I followed that to like the T, and it would have been such low calories. And that's why I got so lean. Like obviously there's not benefits to low calories for such a long time too. So, I'm glad that we have seen a progression in all of this, because it was definitely not the healthiest preps to start off with, but we didn't have anything else. Like I didn't have a coach that stage. I couldn't afford one. So I was just going off bodybuilding.com forums and Lane Norton stuff, which is obviously still very relevant. So I did what I could, but it was, there's definitely improvements that have been made in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I guess you only know what you know, right? And what you were saying earlier about there's so much information out there. I can already like hear the brains of my listeners being like, but like I thought like, chicken, broccoli, greens, like that's healthy, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I wanted to really go into low calories for long extended times. Like for me, when I first started getting into fitness, I like dropped my calories to 1,000 and like doing cardio every day, training for like 3 hours, legs like every day, I'll tell you what, it didn't last very long. And I guess for those who may potentially be in the same boat, who like want to change their physique and are dropping their calories, doing extra cardio, like what would be your advice for someone, I guess, that has been dieting for long periods of time or is thinking about just dropping the calories to 1,000 like I did?
I guess like when we look at like deficits and being in the low calories and things like that, we have to understand like why are we doing it? We need to figure out like what is the intention behind it first? Like, do you actually need to lose weight? A lot of people like come into the fitness industry and think that being in the cutting phase is like an entry level to getting into the fitness journey, right? But like for a lot of people, they don't necessarily need to lose weight. And there are obviously people for health reasons that do need to lose weight, and that's fine. But I think it's coming down to the individual. Like, are you already a lean person? Do you need to just stay at a maintenance? Like we need to see cutting phases as like you do them well and you get out of them, and then you sit in a maintenance. And like the max of cuts per year should be like 1 or 2, not 4 or 5, what a lot of people are doing, or all this yo-yo dieting where it's like 8 weeks. Oh no, I don't feel good my body again. I'll keep going, or I'll go, I'll stop tracking altogether, go up to whatever calories and eat shit, and then go back into a deficit. Or I'll do 6 challenges per year because, that's what's rolling around the industry at the moment. So with our company, what we like to do is only 2 challenges per year. So then that's only encouraging people to come on board to do 2 challenges. And then in the middle of that, there's strength programs and there's maintenance programs, and there's like a place where they can thrive. Because so ignore me. You still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. Oh God. Hey there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can just hear you. Wait up, I'll just find my other earphones. Give me a moment.
That's okay. I'll pause it.
Yeah, I figured out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's first like determining whether you do actually need to be in a cutting phase, and then realizing that being in a deficit isn't always the healthiest option. Yes, if you need to lose weight, then it is something that is going to be of benefit to you. But figuring out yes or no and whether that's going to be appropriate for you is like number one. And then understanding that there is appropriate deficits for each individual. Like if you're a 90-kilo woman, 170 centimeters tall, your cutting calories are going to be so much higher than someone that is, say, 150 centimeters and 50 kilos. So there used to be like these standard like 1,200 calorie diets or 1,500 calorie diets, and they just aren't appropriate for everyone. Like we all require a different amount of energy to function, and therefore our deficit phases are always going to be different. So, if you're listening to this and just going online to find a 1,500 calorie diet, like stop doing that. You need to find something that is relevant to you, because that's going to be the most healthiest. And at the end of the day, the most important thing about any cutting phase is that it needs to be maintainable. So there's no point in doing 1,000 calories, 1,000 calories, 1,000 calories for 3 days and then busting over for 4 days because you couldn't maintain it. Because we don't just look at calories over a 24-hour period, we look at it across the week. So this is a big thing with like young women and men, especially if they're, doing really well and dieting during the week, and then on the weekend going out partying, eating shit. And then they think like, but I've been doing so well. But then your calories on the weekend busting over your maintenance, therefore putting you back at a maintenance. So all this hard work that you've done during the week is actually all for nothing, because essentially you've just gone up to maintenance on the weekend. So it's important to understand the science behind it before. And that's why education is so important. Like I know so many people want to jump on the whole meal plan bandwagon and be like, just give me something to follow. Like I do better. And I know people that say that do not do better with it. They do better with it for 2 days and then they get sick of it. And then it's something that they can't maintain. So, this is where we see flexible dieting and tracking to be something that is an essential tool for someone that is wanting to change their body composition. Because at the end of the day, we like to be social. I like to be social. I like to go out for breakfast. I like to go out to dinner. I like to have drinks and all those types of things. And you just can't do that on a meal plan. So there is a time and a place for all things, but like it's just finding what works for you. And essentially like education is everything. And it's something that we should all invest in, even if it's just for an 8-week period of time. Get what you need from it and then get out of it. But the one thing I can just recommend is stop doing like challenge after challenge after challenge after meal plan. Like get the education that you need to feel confident to be able to do it by yourself, essentially.
I love that you said that. Like even when I was doing more personal training and nutrition programs for clients, I had a lot of people come to me saying, Elisa, can you write me a meal plan? And I said, yes, I can, but I'm not going to, because I'm not actually going to teach you anything. It's really just band-aiding what's actually going on. And you said before, like, do you actually need to lose weight? And I really would love to have this and then transition into, I guess, comparison and that question of, do you actually need to lose weight? As I know, growing up and being in the fitness industry, there's so much comparison to other women on social media, and I'm sure that males also get this as well. So I guess I know that you have quite a big following on social media. So how have you navigated through, I guess, comparing yourself to other people? Like, if you have done that, like body image, all that kind of stuff, like what has that been like for you?
Oh, look, it's actually been, I think, like sometimes I'm really good with it, and I don't compare myself to others. But then sometimes, like, as we all do, like, especially growing up being like one more muscular than quite few females. All my girlfriends being bikini athletes usually, and two, like being a competitor. So I'm always like, growing up, I was always comparing myself to the girls in Cleo magazine. So they're skinny, they're tall, they're pretty. And that was not me. I was weird and small and strange shaped child. So like it started then really. And then in high school, it was worse, because obviously in high school it's awful. Like, and it's girls comparing girls all the time. And I went to an all girls school. So again, awful. And then after school is kind of where I was like, hey, I'm coming into my own, because I can create with bodybuilding anything that I want to be like. And that's where like I found a lot of power, and I empowered myself, because I was like, you know, I don't need to be like all these other girls. I can be whoever I want to be. And then obviously as you get older, like, it's being comfortable in yourself is never a linear thing. Like, I think you go through like, I'm good. And then you're like, especially like having a baby, postpartum period, being pregnant, like it's like going through puberty all over again. And so like personally, I still find myself sometimes comparing myself to smaller girls, because that's all I ever know. And that's what was and is still, you know, in society's eyes, an attractive thing for a female to be, right? Like, as much as we want to move away from it, like if you see a small, like a petite girl, you're like, oh, she's really pretty, you know. And I know that we've done a lot of work in the industry to be like strong and like, and all these types of things, but I still don't think we can move so far away from it. Like, but we can try. So, you know, I still find myself like, doing that sometimes, comparing myself to other people. But again, we are all very different shapes, you know, like it's like apples and oranges. I will never look like majority of my friends who are bikini athletes ever. Like, no matter how much weight I lose or shape like muscle I lose or whatever, like we're all such different. I think it's about finding confidence in who you are and not feeling like you need to change all the time. And I think, like, I like the work that the industry has done over the last couple of years to be able to give people confidence in all different shapes and sizes, which is fantastic. But like I said, like, do you need to lose weight? And I think people need to realize also that losing weight doesn't equal more confidence, because I've been there. Like, I have been a bigger person, not bigger person, but a chunkier version of me in my off season, and like 72 kilos. So that's probably around 15 kilos heavier than I am now. And I was still really confident. I loved my body, you know, and I thought that, like, when I was at that weight, like a few years ago, like losing weight and competing would make me feel better. But I got down to the competitive and stage and I still didn't feel better. It had nothing to do with the weight that I was. It had everything to do with how I felt about myself. So, you know, this is a continual journey. And especially, like, I know people, if they've been pregnant or postpartum, like, it's not about how you look, it's about how you feel. So that's a lot of work that I put into myself over that period of time, because I thought that would be really difficult for me to be able to grow and to have a giant stomach and feel uncomfortable. But yeah, it's a continual thing. And I think that if people think that, look at me and they're like, oh, she has it sorted, she feels good all the time. Like, I don't. I go through all of it like everyone else. I think it's realizing though, like, yeah, weight doesn't equal confidence ever.
Oh, I love that so much. Yes. Like, whenever I had clients come to me in the past, I would ask them, why specifically do you want to lose weight? And it'd be, I just want to feel confident in my skin. And I love that you said that losing weight or your body composition doesn't like doesn't correlate with your confidence. Like your confidence doesn't just automatically increase when you're shredded.
Yeah.
Because like when I competed, I had literally like no body fat whatsoever. I swear I had like an 8-pack, and I would show up to the gym, triple XL tees, like leggy stuff, like don't look at me, like, and now like 20, 30 kilos heavier, I am like going to the gym, like my shorts, my crop top, like it's so different. It doesn't relate. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, 'cause, like, it's funny because you see like some of the most confident girls, never the skinniest girls. And like, I love them because like, you don't need to be skinny to be confident. And then there's people that like myself in my cutting phase, like, because as a competitor, you're super critical to yourself. And then you look back and you're like, why wasn't I feeling confident then? And it's always because you're like, at the time, you're like, I could be leaner. I don't look that good. There's a little bit of fat there. Like, you're so critical. So
like
sitting.
Critic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And I guess for the listeners, what would be, let's say, 3 pieces of advice for increasing confidence in your skin?
I love this one. I was about to actually say this. Weird. So I think like confidence doesn't come from how you look. It's about how you treat yourself. And it's about installing trust in yourself, because like the more that you feel like you're doing good things for yourself, the more confident that you are. And I know this personally from going through all of this. Like when I am not honoring my values, or I'm not honoring what's good for my body in terms of feeding myself good food and moving my body, I don't feel confident because I'm not looking after myself. So like one is look after yourself, like, and put a little bit of trust back into yourself each time. So when you commit to something, do it and follow through with it. And then, because everyone knows after, even if it's a little commitment, like go to the gym today. And if you do it, you're like, I feel good about myself today. And that a little bit more confidence, you know? So that's my number one. Number 2 is like stop comparing yourself to others, because at the end of the day, we are all such different human beings and no one is better than anyone else. Like we are all unique, you know, and we're all amazing. So like, even though we may compare ourselves to the other girls, like they're no better than us and we're no better than them. So understand that. 3 would be just to be yourself and to be proud of yourself and to be proud of your little commitments as well. So like I said, like number 1 was to follow through with commitments, is 3, be proud of that. So, and celebrate that as well. So when you do something good for yourself, celebrate it. And when you go to the gym for 5 days in a row, celebrate it. So yeah, there's my 3.
Oh, that is so powerful. And especially like the comparison piece, with my clients, like that comes up a lot, especially with like athletes who are comparing themselves to other people. And I always say, if you can spot it, you've got it. So if you can like perceive someone in your reality, your experience that looks beautiful or is performing really well or is confident in their skin, instead of going like, oh, they're really confident and I'm not, it's like, if it's in your awareness and your reticular activating system is picking up on that in your experience, then you obviously are aware of it within yourself, but on an unconscious level. So that was, yeah, I love that so much. And I'm just like, yeah, that was so sick. And even like the trusting yourself piece, like I get my clients to make their bed every day.
Yeah. Just little trust activities. And I think like it is true, like when you start dropping things for yourself, like looking after yourself or feeding yourself or going to the gym or going for a walk, like then you have that, you're just encouraging bad habits and you're just going, oh, I told you couldn't do that and stuff like that. So it's good to just like little habits and then build on those habits. And I like, I've done this multiple times. It's not like one day you wake up and you're like, I have it all together. Like it's a continual piece that you work on like every day. So, you know, never feel like you're failing because, you know, you had a really good week and then on Saturday and Sunday you drop the ball. Like that's fine. We're all human. Just pick it up again and keep going. Of
course. And on those days that you do feel like you've dropped the ball or you're not feeling like 100%, like, yeah, what are some things that you do to get you back on track, let's say?
Look, to be honest, since Luna was born, there are very few days where I felt on the ball. Like, majority of it is because you're tired and tired and tired. You feel not like unmotivated. So this is why we never rely on motivation as a tool to get us through anywhere. Like, I never rely on it anymore. Like, maybe I have a little bit of motivation during comp prep because I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing results. Yeah, fuck yeah. But like, majority of the time at the moment, I'm tired. So how I get through it is I have like a diary of things that I need to do, and I write down like 3 things for the day, and I just tick them off as I go. So it's like, it's always gym, meet calories, meet steps. They're my 3 things. And then there's obviously appointments and things I need to go to. But like, just seeing it visually and ticking it off is like, I got to get it done. And like, I just have this little thing that I tell myself, and it's like, just get shit done. That's it. Like, stop complaining about it. Just go get shit done. Because at the end of the day, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. And like, you owning your own business as well, like, we don't have people telling us what to do or telling us where to be. Like, we have to just get shit done in the day. So that's how I go with like my training and my eating. I just get it done because no one else is going to do it for me. So I'm the only one responsible for that.
Oh, yes, I love that. I think mine's like very similar. Like, when I feel a bit like, I'm dragging my feet, then I'm like, yeah, come on, let's go, let's get it done, let's get shit done. Like, yeah, definitely. Oh, amazing. And so, where can my listeners find you if they want to learn more about your coaching and what you do?
So I just have my Instagram page is Emily_Kingbodies, or we have a team page as well, team_Kingbodies. And there's lots of like information and education on there, but they're 2 main things. And then my website's linked in there as well.
Amazing. And one last question before we leave this episode, Emily, is I say to all my guests at the end of every episode, what is like one message that you intuitively can tap into or channel or think of that it would be relevant to the listeners right now? Like, what is one thing that you think that they need to hear, and it doesn't necessarily have to relate to what we've spoken about today, but that one thing?
I think this is just going to relate to what we were talking about then. Like, things aren't always going to feel easy, and life is sometimes really hard. Like, a lot of the time it's really hard, right? And we need to work in order to get to anywhere. So stop thinking that things are going to be easy. And you know, sometimes we have flow with life and work and everything, but sometimes, majority of the times, we do have to work really hard to achieve anything worthwhile. And that goes for anything in career, in body, in, you know, family or relationships. Like, things can get really difficult. So we just need to get shit done. And that's it, you know.
Oh, so powerful. And like, I love that, because it's like the things that are perceived as hard are actually just a challenge to like test how bad you want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it can be really easy to see all these things in life happening to us when really it's happening for us, so that we can get to the top of the mountain and be proud of ourselves, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us all today, Emily. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I'm excited to chat with you again soon.
Lovely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at elise.riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.